Welcome to the ThunderCast, your Marshall Athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hugnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose.
Thank you for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast, and this is the final regular season episode of this new series that we started this year, Getting to Know Our Opponent. And this week, I am joined by Cody and Matt of GATA Talk, and I hope I'm saying that right because I've heard GATA, GATA, GATA.
It's debatable. Yeah, we say it different almost every time, so it's fine.
Well, gotta get it right, and I'm on a gotta talk is how I'm going to say it. But Matt and Cody have been doing this for a long time, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But just wanted to thank you guys for coming to the show as you guys help us get to know Georgia Southern.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us.
All right, guys, we'll get into it in just a few minutes, but I got to start off and pay a few bills and thank our sponsor at Leasure Oliver PLLC. If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Found them at 304carwreck.com. All right, it's the eve of Thanksgiving Eve. And we've got some stuff to do. Cody says he's already been pre-gaming for Thanksgiving. And I'm about to. It's brining night, as I was just telling you guys before we hit record. And I know that you guys have cheated. You've probably listened the entire drive in, Matt. Cody, you've probably been having a pre-game and listening to the show, so you know what's coming. I just know it in my heart. But I like to flip the script, and we're going to start at the end instead of end with the question that everyone always does. So right now, on the spot, give me a score prediction.
Oh gosh,
exact score.
Exact
score.
Yeah,
Matt, I'll let you go with. I'll let you start with this, and then I'll say what I think is going to be the final score.
You agree or disagree?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Cody and I both have very little optimism going into this game, especially after the final home game of the season. I'm going to say Marshall 35, Georgia Southern 20.
Okay. 35-20, Cody?
Yeah, I will say probably along the lines of 38, maybe 24.
Okay.
Marshall. Yeah.
So both of you going above what Vegas has started out -6 for Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cover. I'm pretty confident in that.
Okay.
Well,
now let's work backwards.
Yeah, go ahead. I'd be surprised.
No, you go ahead.
No, I'm surprised it's -6, to be honest with you. I thought it would at least be probably 10 to 12 pushing the spread.
I thought it'd be score. At least more than one score. I thought.
Did you see how our game went in Boone?
No.
Score line. Yeah. Saw the stat line.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
did you see how our game went against Old Dominion?
I did. It's great that it's Thanksgiving Eve. You know,
45-10.
Yeah. No, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But these are two 5 and 6 teams. A lot of storylines going in here, you know, but let's work backwards and see how it was that you guys got to this score prediction. Let's talk first about the coaches. Head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, philosophies, how they're doing this year, whatever you want to talk about.
You want to start with this, Matt? Or are you going to let me stir that pot?
I'm sure we both have a lot to contribute. You want to just split it up? How about you want to take Applin? And
and I guess if you don't know, our head coach is Clay Hilton, right, from University of Southern Cal. Most people know him from. Obviously, he got fired back in, what was it, 2021, 2022?
21.
and we picked him up a month or so later to be our next head coach after we let go of Lunsford. And this is his 4th season now as our head coach. We have Ryan Appling as our offensive coordinator. This is his 2nd season, but I believe it's his 4th on staff, as he was the passing game coordinator as well as the inside wide receivers coach when Coach Ellis was the offensive coordinator before he left for Alabama. And then and then the defensive coordinator is Brandon Bailey. This is his 3rd season. Came from the University of Buffalo, where he was a defense coordinator for 1 year. And this is his 3rd season here in Statesboro. That's sort of just the general overview of the 3 and the quick bios. Now, if you want to get into the fan base's lack of support or love for the coordinators and head coach at this point, we can get into that. I mean, it's been tough sledding, especially on the defensive side. Just to give a quick thing, we were like a 4-2-5 scheme is what our base is or was. We've seen lately we've gone into like a 3-man down front at times, whether that's a 3-3-5 or a 3-2-6, sort of like a dime package. Either way, whatever we throw out there is not stopping the run. So if y'all can run the ball, that's going to be good for y'all. I think there's only one team that has not ran for over 100 yards, at least, if not more, on us, and that was App State. Everybody else, I believe, has had like career days when it comes to the rushing attack. Matt, jump in at any point if you want to say anything positive about the defense at all.
Positive?
Positive, because I can't.
No, other than what you just covered. Yeah, App State, they got more stops in that game than I think any
the whole
any
year
game
combined.
Whole year combined. Held them to like 70-something rushing yards. But Old Dominion just had their way with us, 555 yards of total offense, 300 and something was on the ground. Like Cody said, worst rushing defense both in the conference and the country. And now officially, and this, all the stats were crunched after we recorded our preview episode for this game, where we were 3rd worst in total defense in the country. Now we're dead last. So we're 134 out of 134 FBS teams. Worst defense ever in program history by far. I don't think there's really anything good to say, at least like collectively, of the season. Like they've had a few bright spots here and there, mainly in that App State game, but outside of that, it's just been tough sledding. There's just no confidence, I would say, from the fan base at this point with anything that the defense is going to put out there. The talk track going into every week, regardless of the opponent, is basically, can the offense do enough to outscore? And that's just kind of where we're at. And we threw an interception on the first play of the game against Old Dominion. They score 3 plays later. They get up 14-0 real early, and I think everybody knew like it was going to be a long day in the office. So that's just kind of how it is. Offense has to play perfect. They have to click on all cylinders. They have to do well early, which they haven't really been consistent this year through 4 quarters. Either strong first half, not so good second half, or vice versa. With our defense, we're not going to win games. That's kind of why we find ourselves at 5-6 at this point.
Well, you mentioned in there one time maybe the offense can outscore. That's the hope and everything. So let's start there with the offense. Tell me about the quarterback and tell me about his receiving core, the multi-talented O.J. Arnold out of the backfield, and talk about those big guys that block for everybody.
Yeah, J.C. French is the quarterback, returning starter quarterback from last year, one of a few teams in the Sun Belt to do that. He's completing 63% of his passes, 17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Pretty good because he had, 14 interceptions, I believe, last year, Cody?
No, it was 11.
Was it 11? Sorry. And 3 of those came in the bowl game. That was a big storyline for him, is can he take care of the football? 8 is still probably too high for a lot of teams. For us, the amount of times we throw it, even though we have been more balanced, I would say, in the play calling this year, probably out of all 4 years of the Clay Helton era. A couple of those anyway. I would say like 5 or 6 are probably on him, but the other ones aren't. It's just like a situational thing, tip ball or whatever, bad luck. So does a decent job of that. Does well running the football. Something that I would say has been inconsistent from like a play calling standpoint of just kind of giving him the freedom to run, but when he can mix in, he's not I wouldn't say a true dual threat, certainly not like a true scrambler, but he's kind of like a backfield creator. So if he's given that green light, he can make something work with his legs. And then OJ Arnold, he's also a returning running back for us. Played a backup role last year, RB1 this year, almost 900 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. His big breakout game came against Coastal Carolina, where he did everything, Swiss Army knife, threw for a touchdown, caught a touchdown pass, and ran for 2 touchdowns for 400 yards of total offense in that game. Was pretty non-existent, went out early against Old Dominion, and did decent against App, but his coming out party was definitely Coastal. So
it probably won't play in this game either.
Probably not. Injury is kind of undisclosed that I've heard. It's kind of he's like day-to-day kind of thing, and they're not being like really forthcoming with the extent of the injury, but it doesn't sound great. And then I think really tying a bow on the offense as far as just like things to watch for is going to be Camden Brown, our wide receiver 1. He was a transfer from Auburn, had a lot of drops at Auburn, highly recruited kid, came here and he's caught dang near everything thrown his way. Leads the conference, I believe 2nd or 3rd in all of FBS in touchdown catches with 12. Around 900 yards of almost 900, I think. 892. So he's a big weapon. Also was very quiet. Not a lot of targets in against Old Dominion. Cody, I don't know
which is something that we complained about in our last episode. But the only thing I would add about Camden Brown is that the touchdown that he count that he has right now with 12 is our single season record already. He already broke that.
It was 8.
8. Yeah, the previous record was 8, so he broke that I think about 2 or 3 games ago. And so we'll see how much, if he can, hopefully add to that record against y'all. But he's also, I believe, less than 100 yards away from breaking the single season receiving yards record as well, and has a chance, if he has a big enough game, to be the first Eagle wide receiver to ever eclipse 1,000 yards in the season. So there's a couple of things, just to watch for him to see how he does in this. The offensive line, I know we didn't really touch on that. Together has, outside, I think the tackles have really been pretty injury free for the most part. Our tackles have kind of been beat up a little bit, but the center and guards have been pretty solid throughout the entire season. And even the tackles, I think Johnny Brown went out this past game, but I don't think it was serious. So I think we should still be okay there. But offensive line, you can say has actually played decent, and it's not really an issue there.
Let's say run blocking has been a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, at times, but it hasn't been bad, right? Yeah. Like it hasn't been like completely terrible. Pass blocking's been good. I would say if you want to look at the issues for the offense, it has been, I would say, inconsistency with getting it to your playmakers, right? So like Camden Brown just kind of went completely dead silent. And why? If you're down 17-0 in the second quarter, I would be trying to feed him the ball as much as you can to try to get back in the game. OJ Arnold, at the time we didn't know he was out, but it hasn't been unlike a game where he'll get 2 or 3 touches, explode, and have a great series, and then you won't hear anything out of him until the fourth quarter. And it's just like, where are we doing here? And then also to bring up Matt's point again, the main issue is just consistency. We do not play 4 quarters of football. We have not at all this season, and I would not expect that to change against y'all. We may have a great first half. We may come out, put 21, 28 points in the half, and you're thinking, oh Lord, they're going to run us out of the stadium. But the second half, we may score 6 points.
That's been more
And
common. Yeah.
and that's been more common and will allow teams to get um, back into it. If you look at our Arkansas State game, we were
Yep.
up 21-10 with about 6 minutes left in the second quarter, and just completely fell apart after that. And they ended up coming back and beating us 34-24.
I mean, App State, we were destroying them in that
Yes.
game, right? 19-3, I think it was. Should have been like 25, 30 points at half. Settled for some field goals, but then only got 6 points in the second half.
Yeah.
And then won that game by 25-23, I believe.
And then another one too was Jacksonville State. We were up, I think, what was it, Matt? 31-10 or 28-10 at one point. And in the third quarter, it was tied up 31-31 before we finally pulled away in the fourth quarter and beat them 41-34, I believe.
The only time we did the opposite of that was Southern Miss. Southern Miss ran away with it at home in the first half. It looked like it was going to be Old Dominion. And we came back and almost, pulled another come from behind upset, against Charles Huff. Coach
Don't
T,
mention that name. Don't mention that name on this podcast.
Doesn't bother me. Trust me. Does not bother me. Tell me about this before we move on from the offense. Okay. Other than the wide receiver that got sacked, we have 26 sacks against J.C. French, and it's cost 138 yards off of his rushing total the way that they do that. So technically he's at 106 carries for quick math here, 464, which sounds a lot better than 226. He's actually rushed a little bit better than that 2.1 average. But walk me through the 26 plus the one sack on there. It's 27 sacks on the year. We were just talking about pass blocking being better than the run blocking, but we got 27 sacks. So is it more like, I've used this analogy before. Sometimes you don't steal on the catcher. You've got an all-world catcher, and you steal on the pitcher. So is this a sack against the offensive line more than the quarterback, or more on the quarterback than the offensive line?
I think it depends. A lot of times I feel like J.C. French would hold on to the ball too long and not get rid of it or try to or not pick up the pressure. I'm quite curious because now that you mentioned it, I haven't looked into it. I wonder if those sacks are more from like 2 or 3 games instead of a collective of the whole season.
That's a good point.
He's definitely had. I would say it's not evenly distributed.
JMU and USC.
JMU sacked us, I want to say 8 times in 8 or 9 times in one game.
That'll run the numbers up.
Yeah.
USC
I think had a bunch.
And I can't remember about Fresno. I don't think Fresno State was that much because I think we just were terrible against them.
I just looked it up here. So USC got 3 sacks. JMU had 7 sacks.
Yep.
But your first 5 games, the other 3 teams didn't have any sacks.
Right.
But then right after that, Southern Miss got you for 5, none from Georgia State, and then 4 from Arkansas State, 2 from App, 3 from Coastal, and 2 from ODU. So it's trending in. It was boom or bust. It was 0 or more than 5, but it's trending the last 4 games. You've got 4, 2, 3, and 2. Yeah. Not making a statement with that, just giving you the.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think that may have to do more with our tackles being thin at tackle. To be honest with you.
Okay.
But I had no idea about that. And I'm not surprised that at the beginning of the season it was more boom or bust, especially with what you said. JMU was 7. But I would say that not all of that I would say would be completely on the offensive line. I think there's been times in which JC has held the ball for too long and not just thrown it away.
Okay.
And
He's
that's
taken
been
some. He's also like made some bad decisions. Not
Mhm.
really where in the past he would have thrown an interception. Now he gets like an intentional grounding. He's had a couple of those.
Okay.
So just kind of panics back there a little bit. But yeah.
All right, so now let's shift over to the defense and let's talk about this hybrid 4-2-5, sometimes 3-3-5, sometimes 3-2-6. You set it up, teed it right up with the ranking on where you're at. There's no way to hide that, but let's talk
Nope.
about them. Defensive line, linebackers, and the defensive backs.
I
Where do you want to
mean,
start, Cody? I could handle the
I will
linebackers.
say that the linebackers are probably the more athletic position group that we have. We're still thin there, but at least we have what I feel like are two competent linebackers that are well with Tyson and Harrington.
Brendan Harrington out of
Yeah.
App State. He was
Yep.
App State's captain, defensive captain for a couple of years, transferred to us.
And our secondary isn't bad. My biggest gripe with the secondary is that they play too soft coverage on the receivers. And so there's been numerous times, especially when it's been third and long, fourth and long, in which for whatever reason we're off the receiver by 3 or 4 yards and they'll just catch it and get the first down. And it's just like, why are we not covering them any tighter than what they are?
I'd say Justin Myers. I'd throw him in when we're talking about our DBs. He's,
Mhm.
he hasn't been great in coverage like consistently, but he has been like an X factor, I would say, in the defensive secondary with some timely picks this year. So he's
And
one.
it was what, Aiden Jackson
And
too?
Aiden
That was the
Jackson.
one he got
Yeah,
the pick
Aiden
against
Jackson.
App State.
He got the big pick. Yeah, game
Uh,
changing. Yeah.
And so, and then there's a corner too, and the name is escaping me, and I cannot think of it for the life of me. But he was not a starter at the beginning of the year. And with Chance Gamble going down, has kind of stepped up and is starting to kind of impress with some of the more analytic metrics that are out there. But the name I'm drawing a blank on it right now. But I would say if you really want to know the weakness, it's the defensive line. And
Yes.
then honestly, just the scheme. I mean, we just get beat schematically. It wouldn't matter if we have a great defensive line or not. Just we are always, it seemed like, to be outnumbered, especially when it comes to blockers, to what's in the box, and that's why our rushing defense is just absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no adjustments that are made. Old Dominion, for example, didn't do anything that we didn't already see last year, and we once again had no answer for it. They just ran at will, and fundamentals have been terrible.
At times, especially
At
tackling.
times, tackling's been bad, angles have been bad. Yeah.
All right, 2 questions here. I always look for abnormalities in stats and things like that. You've talked about the defensive line and it being, not good or not performing at the best. But MJ Stroud has 6.5 of your 12 sacks as a team. He has 3 forced fumbles, no recoveries, but also a pass deflection there. And I look at him, and he's listed as 6'2", 235 on a 3-3-5 defensive line, and he's got 6.5 sacks. So that stands out to me. Care to talk about
Yes,
him just a little bit?
he's the one few bright spots on that defensive line. And I think he started out his career as a linebacker. I want to
Yep.
say I think he was
Okay.
the outside linebacker. That
One of those kind of hybrid guys. Yeah.
yeah, he's kind of moved back and forth, but now he's on the defensive line, defensive end. And you're right. He has had, I believe, a very good season if you look at the numbers, especially with the sacks and tackles for loss, and can cause havoc, especially if wherever he's lined up on, you feel like that offensive line or that tackle or guard is weak. He can get back there and create some havoc. I just it's just not enough, right? He can have some great performances, but it's just one guy.
Yeah.
And again, if you have if you're in a 11 personnel with a tight end and a running back, right? And that's essentially 6 blockers. And I think your quarterback's mobile too, so you could probably use the running back as a 7th. And we only have 6 guys in the box. It doesn't take a math genius to figure out that you're going to have us outnumbered, and you can, get 5, 6, 8 yards, if not more, on that play. So that's, I mean, I don't know. I feel like some of those numbers. I know that he had 2.5 sacks, I think, or 3.5 against Maine when we played down. And then there was, I think, Coastal. I think Coastal was another big game in which he came up big in that as well. But yeah, overall season's been great, but it's just not enough.
So we've got actually against Coastal, he didn't have any. He had
Oh,
one solo tackle, but we had
okay.
2.5 sacks against Maine, one against Arkansas State, two against App,
That's what it
and
was. The app game.
one last week against ODU. Second question, because we've ran a 3-3-5 all year long, and one of the complaints, usually this episode is not about Marshall whatsoever, but there's going to be kind of a mirror here. You guys are talking about a 3-3-5, and we have seen a lot of chunk plays that we've given up. It has cost us a lot of games. How are you guys against the chunk play being so far ranked down? Is it like just consistently beat all game, or is it like you're doing okay and then all of a sudden you give up 40, 50, 60, that sort of thing?
I mean, we've had a fair share of chunk plays, but I would say it's just consistently beat up. I mean, we've been dinked and dunked to death. We've been, 5 to 8 yard runs to death. We've certainly given up the 40-yard runs and the 60-yard passes, but I would say it's just like teams can just run and pass on us at will. At third down on defense, I don't have those stats in front of me to like support that, but just from like the eye test, has not been great, certainly not been consistent. We do seem to get teams in third and long situations fairly often, at least in the second half of the season. Cody, correct me if I'm wrong, like it seems like that. But man, like against App, for example, we had like on the same drive, like a 3rd and 16 and a 3rd and 14, I think both converted.
No, they had fourth. They were
fourth down. That was fourth down. Yeah. But I forget who it was against someone else. And we had like, maybe Coastal was like that, where we had 2 third and longs on the same drive. Yeah.
So I have that stat up for you, and I'm not trying to punch you guys in the gut here, but 133 out of 136. Most of the stats, they show 134 teams, but the page that we use show 136, and it's the 2 teams that have moved up. 48.3% third down conversions all season long that you've given up. In the interest of not beating you up anymore and making you talk about the defense, let's talk about special teams. You've got a really consistent kicker, and I want to hear about the punter and anybody that you may want to highlight when you're talking about punt returns or even kick returns.
I mean, I could talk about Trip Bryant. He's let's see, 13 for 15 this year. He won the kicking job. He is a true freshman, I think. I think he's a true freshman. Out of South Carolina. And won that kicking job. That was a huge question mark. Like in our preview episodes, we were like, we don't even know the guys' names, like competing for that. It was very much like kept kind of in the dark, which obviously Georgia Southern has produced. 2 NFL kickers, and Younghoe Koo and Tyler Bass. But actually Rob Baronis, a couple. So. Huge question mark for the special teams coming in, and Trip Bryant has done beautifully. I think he's 100% on extra points, I would say anything 40 and under, we feel really good about. Once you start getting that 45 longer, those 2 misses that he had, I think, are both from like somewhere in that range. I don't think he's attempted anything that's like 50 plus. But that would make me nervous at this point. But again, he's a true freshman. So like getting him even on the hard angles and stuff on the 35-yarders and things like that, he's been money.
Yeah. So anywhere inside the 30 you guys get to, you can almost guarantee tacking on 3 points if you go to him. Punter for flipping the field, how's he been doing?
Pretty good. Alex Smith, this is his 3rd year. He came out of the punting school from down there in Australia.
Yep.
Lefty, I believe. I've been watching him from 3
Former
years ago.
professional tennis player.
Yes.
In fact, yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
So, but no, I mean, he does well. I think there's been maybe one shank of the all season, and that was I think against Fresno State at the beginning of the year.
He had the
But he's
one where he
been-
did the rugby style where it was that like fake
Oh, but
option.
that was a design type.
It was like
deal,
a design rollout, like keeping and running. And he did that
Yeah.
year ago or 2 years ago where he fooled everybody and tucked it and ran it and picked up the first down. It was like 3rd and 15 or something. But
Yeah.
So he is capable of making some plays. He's an athletic guy.
He is. But yeah, very consistent. It's not anything that we typically worry about when he goes out there.
Yeah.
And what about your return game, punt return specifically? Because hardly anybody does anything on kickoff returns anymore. But how's it look?
You just wait. We'll return some kicks to the 15-yard line. You just wait.
Yeah, we will. Back of the end zone. Yeah. Fair catches be damned.
Oh.
But hey, our special teams coordinator just got nominated for the Broyles Award. So there's that. We don't know how, but he did. So
Go vote for him, guys.
Yeah.
Go vote for him. Gosh, Matt, if you can think of his name, tell it to me because the only thing I can think of is how.
is it
Terry-
Teotan?
No, it's
No.
he starts with a P. Terry Harvin calls him Peanut whenever he's out there because he's short. He's like 5. I think he's listed as 5'9", 5'10", but he's honestly probably more like 5'6", 5'7". I think he's also a true freshman too, if I'm not mistaken. And it's mainly fair catches. I don't think he's had a fumble this year. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But for this to be his first year doing this, and I believe the last couple years we've had some pretty sure-handed guys do it. This was obviously I think one of the biggest question marks coming to the season. But he's proven himself. I mean, it's not anything that we don't expect him to take it to the house.
No.
But he'll catch it, and 9 times out of 10 he will fair catch the ball. But the couple of times that he's trying to take off with it, he's pretty athletic and shifty and can make some people miss. But I don't expect him to. It's not like a Devin Hester type situation where it's you expect him to take it to the house every time, or he's gonna he should be a big concern.
I would say kickoff return was right, but Dalen Cobb does have an injury, and we're not sure the extent of that. We don't think he's going to play in this game.
It's concussion protocol.
Yes, concussion. Yeah, so I doubt he plays. He's had some shining moments as a receiver. Came in as an All Sun Belt preseason selection. I would say hasn't had the season as a receiver that a lot of people wanted him or thought he would have. Cody and I included. Did return a kick for touchdown earlier in the year. Definitely a weapon there, but has made some ill-advised, decisions running out of the end zone, like we alluded to. But like we said, he likely won't be playing in this game.
I'm going to assume that the punt returner was Peyton Plott.
Yes,
that's it.
5'7" wide receiver freshman. So
yes.
All right, so guys, we talked about coaching. We talked about offense. We talked about defense. We just finished up talking about special teams. I feel like now we have a better understanding about, who Georgia Southern is. Our fans can know what to look for. But what we don't know is a little bit about you guys. So if you would spend a couple of minutes, tell us how this got started, how long you've been doing it, and also where they can find your content, because I know this week they're going to want to listen. It's the holidays. They're going to want to bone up on. Trust me, they do. Our fans do. Our fans want to listen, and they're going to love this show.
Yeah.
They're going to love this episode.
So Cody, I'll kick us off here. I'll get a little into the background here in a second, but what Cody was laughing about is so we did release our episode today, actually. And typically we do a kind of combined deal, right? Where we talk about the last game and then we preview second half of the show of the opponent. We talk very little about Marshall in this. This is way more in depth talking about Marshall than we did. Because frankly, we're in kind of a state as a fan base where it almost doesn't matter. This season, we were picked to finish second in the Sun Belt East, dark horse to win it all. has not lived up to expectations. We feel like we're spiraling as a program under Clay Helton. We don't feel, most of the fan base at this point wants him gone. They certainly want the coordinators gone, definitely the defensive coordinator at the very least. But yeah, I mean, after that Old Dominion loss, that was again 45-10, worst home loss in program history. And that's all we talked about. We'd spent maybe 10 minutes talking about Marshall at the end. Still, if you want to,
if you want to listen, fine. And it's no
yeah.
disrespect to your team, and it's certainly
it's
not trying to
I get it. Trust me.
put down your team in any sort of way, but we honestly feel like it's to the point to where I don't think we've ever won up in Huntington at all.
1990. I looked it up
really?
today. Yeah.
We've won. Okay, is that the only
1990
time
was
we
the
won?
last time. Yeah.
Okay, so a national championship team. So that's what it takes. I don't see us going up there and winning. I think we're 1-4 on the road this season.
Yep.
It was really just a frustration episode about how bad we played and where we were at as a program, and honestly, what we feel like as fans need to be the next steps to take place. So it's not trying to ignore your team or your fans or anything like that, but it's really like we have so much larger issues as a football program that we need to discuss and talk about outside of just playing Marshall on Saturday.
And I think some of us, myself included, kind of don't want us to go to a bowl, as weird as that sounds, right? I don't, man, because we're 0-3 under Clay Helton in bowl games, right? With first 2 years, we were 6-6 regular season, lose the bowl game to MAC teams, Buffalo, and then Ohio. And so to finish 6-7, won 8 games last year. 2 of those were against Marshall, the epic comeback where our backup quarterback brings us back.
Yeah.
So
thanks for bringing that up, by the way.
Well, it's like the only thing we have to hate that on really in this conversation because if you really look at they someone had put out on X of like a luck meter. I don't know all the criteria that goes into it, but we were like the luckiest team, luckiest or second luckiest in all of FBS last year. We're like 2.6 games or something. We're just decided by like random luck and not really coaching or talent or anything else. So we were basically 6-6 again last year, right? So we've been very mediocre all of Clay Helton's tenure. When he gets to the postseason, and he has gotten to the postseason the first 3 years, we lose in like epic fashion. I mean, we got blown out by Buffalo. We got blown out by Ohio. We lost to Sam Houston last year. That one was closer, but
not really. It's a late touchdown.
Not really. It was a late touchdown, made it look closer. So it's, I think, and I would argue that this is our worst fielded team of the 4 years, which it shouldn't be. It should be our best team, and we were drinking the Kool-Aid and really hyped coming in. But I think the optimism is just at an all-time low with the fan base. And as great as it would be for the seniors and the players as a whole to go to 4 straight bowl games, and as much as the athletic department will blow that up and make a big deal about it, like we have to be competitive in that game against the MAC or against, Conference USA. And I don't think we can be. So like, I almost want you guys to put us out of our misery and end this season. I really, but having said that, a quick background about the podcast. Like you said, we haven't been doing it in a while. So it's our 8th season. We started in 2018, first year of the Chad Lunsford era. Cody and I not only went to Georgia Southern together, but actually went to high school together in Metro Atlanta, and got close in college. Were roommates for a while in college. And it was years after we graduated, obviously stayed in touch, mainly kind of through football and stuff, chatted about that. And then we just came up with an idea one day. It was like, at the time, there was no one covering really Georgia Southern, not as a podcast, not really as a blog, a couple regional newspaper type stuff, but nothing crazy. And we were like, hey, look, kind of untapped market, let's do it. And yeah, we've been doing it ever since for 8 years.
And you guys put out stuff pretty much year round, or is it only during
just during the
football?
football season?
Okay.
Yeah, so we're football only. We'll
Okay.
occasionally talk about like the other two big sports with baseball and basketball, with kind of some overlaps there.
Okay.
But yeah, like I would say 99% football focused. And yeah, start in late summer, run through like bowl season, and then pick it up in the spring for like one-off episode for spring game and stuff like that, recruiting. And then take kind of a summer hiatus.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That eerily is like KD, the main host of the Thundercast. He and I were college roommates, so we have that same kind of dynamic, known each other for decades and that sort of thing. So that's very cool. I always like to hear how people got started and how it came about. All right, so I even inverted that. Usually that's the final thing that I talk about is you guys before I sign off. But because of what you had said earlier, that you didn't do much talking about Marshall and everything, you want to be out of your misery. I just didn't want to do that first before this and just pound it in even worse. But let's do a couple of over-under things, and then I want to do something different because of it being close to Thanksgiving. So number one, over-under, it's Thanksgiving. It's right after Black Friday. It's coming all the way up from Statesboro, but you're going to have parents of players, and you might have alumni that's, this might be a closer game than for them to get down to Georgia State. So I'm going to set it.
Southern. Georgia Southern.
I'm going to. Oh, Georgia Southern. I'm so sorry. I was thinking the state of Georgia, but my bad, man. That was not intentional. No, but to get down to Georgia Southern in Statesboro, state's in the frickin' name, man. In the name of the town. But to get down there, it might be closer up here. But I'm still going to set it real low because of the record, it being the last game of the season, it being so far away from the university, and also it being Thanksgiving weekend. So I'm going to set it real low. Over under on fan attendance from Georgia Southern, 50.
Ooh, maybe.
Oh, yeah, we might get 50 there. We travel well. I mean, the last home game of the season, because it was the weekend before, students are out. Students did not stick around. I mean, it was sparse, and I don't blame them after what happened. But yeah, I think I'd say over.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's, I think surprisingly, there's a large Eagle alumni in the DMV area, larger than what you would expect.
North Carolina,
I know it's
a lot and
I know.
To your point,
I know it's not exactly a short trip from the DC metro area, but it would be obviously their closest game to go see in person. But yeah, I think we could probably beat 50. Now, I don't know how the weather's going to be on Saturday. I don't know if your forecast is rain or snow or fog, or if it's supposed to be a pretty day up there. But I would say if the weather's clear and it's all good, yeah, I think we could probably eclipse that.
It's a high of 38, and I think it's going to be overcast and dreary.
Oh, man, that just sounds bad.
November's off the Ohio River are not kind up here, but
that's colder than Colorado right now.
Yeah, it's a high of 38, and it's a 1:30 game, so it's like should be the high mark, right around there, noon and 1:30 and everything. But it's going to get colder as the game goes along, because let's say a game nowadays with TV timeouts and things, even for ESPN Plus, it's running 3.5. Well, it's going to be real close to the sun going down at the end of the game. So it's going to be a chilly one. Let's do some fun stuff, and then we'll get you guys out of here. It's Turkey Day coming up. What is your go-to, even if you're not the one cooking it, the method of preparing a turkey for Thanksgiving?
Oh, injection and frying it.
Okay. What do you do? Cajun butter?
Yeah, or some sort of Cajun seasoning.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
I would say just kind of traditional oven. Yeah, I'm not the one cooking it. Usually it's my in-laws or my parents where I'm at now. So yeah, just kind of traditional. No stuffing though. It's Southern. So we do the dressing in the pan. There's some carrots and celery and stuff inside, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, that was my next question. So Cody, I'll hit you with that.
Okay.
Dressing on the side or stuffing inside? I know you said that you're frying, but do you take it out and throw it in the bird just for the look?
I would rather just take it out and throw it on the ground for the birds to eat. I'm not a stuffing or dressing fan. I am mac and cheese all the way. Give me some collard greens with some red pepper flakes with some
Okay.
fatback or bacon that's in it. Some good either cornbread or biscuits or rolls. Um, and yeah, that'll give me some dark meat too, and I'm good to go.
All right. Last one, or I'm sorry, next to last one. What's the go-to side? If you're pulling up to somebody's house, you're doing it at your own house, doesn't matter. What is that one side that you're hoping is just the best that you've ever had?
I'll let you go first for this, Matt. I got a couple in my head.
Yeah, I mean, like the traditional is going to be mac and cheese, right? But it's going to be different everywhere. I've got an interesting one that like my mom made growing up, and I'll have it here for the first time in years. Visiting them for the first time for Thanksgiving, and since living in Colorado 5 years ago, or moving to Colorado. It's pineapple casserole.
Okay.
Sounds real weird. Typical Southern thing. You can make anything into a casserole. But it's canned pineapple, it's cheese, it's mayonnaise, it's Ritz crackers on top with butter.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mayonnaise?
Yeah.
Now listen, I have to tell you, full disclosure, I just had a 30-minute conversation with a friend from Canada about cranberry celebration salad is what it's called up here from Kroger, and that it is a staple on my Thanksgiving sandwiches. And it was out when I was there, and I was like, well, Thanksgiving's canceled. And he saw that and he was like, what is cranberry celebration salad? And he looked it up, and he was like, oh God, that's horrible, because he's from Canada and he's never experienced that. So I can't say definitively, because I just told him he couldn't do it. I can't dismiss what you just said just because mayonnaise with the pineapple.
It sounds weird even with the cheese and stuff, but it blends all together really well. You don't even like see or even taste that it's creamy, but yeah, it just works. It's sweet. So I would say I'm not a big sweet potato guy. I'll do some tots and some fries every now and then, but not a big sweet potato casserole guy. But I would say it's like my go-to sweeter side that helps balance out all the heavy stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And I tell you, I promise you, I'm going to make it and I'm going to try it. I'm a foodie. Used to own a small restaurant, so I'm going to look it up, or you can send me a recipe. I'm going to make it.
Send it to you. It's super easy. It's like 5 ingredients. Yep.
Yeah. Cody?
My go-to side is my wife's collard greens. It's just they're the best. But I kind of sometimes I get these, sometimes I won't. But bacon wrapped green beans or bacon wrapped asparagus.
Okay.
I really like that a lot. But I want to ask you, what is your favorite dessert or your go-to dessert on Thanksgiving?
Well, on Thanksgiving, it's pumpkin pie. My wife makes a homemade one. I am also a really big fan of apple pie in the fall season. Fall's my favorite season by far. Thanksgiving is my favorite day by far. The day before, which is brining day, and 2 days before, which is brining night, those are also in the top 5. So I love this holiday, but for me, it's pumpkin pie. It just reminds me of when I grew up, and that was one of the first desserts that I associated with Thanksgiving. And even, the next day on Black Friday, I was all about the Thanksgiving leftover sandwich. And I go out and I buy like some specialty breads that are bigger, that can hold such a monstrosity, and a little slice of pumpkin pie, homemade pumpkin pie, with some homemade whipped cream on top with that Thanksgiving leftover sandwich. That's all right. Let's get you guys. Oh no, that was my next thing. That was the last question. Dessert. So I'll just throw it right back to you guys. How about your Thanksgiving dessert?
All right. My wife makes some really fantastic cheesecakes. And so this year she'll do a regular cheesecake, and then on top of that, she'll do a pumpkin cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my go-to dessert, is whatever cheesecake she is making. I will have one slice, if not more, on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I do like cheesecake. I was going to say I'm not a huge dessert fan. Cody probably knows this. I don't eat chocolate or anything like that. But the and I live in Colorado now. It's even worse. And like health and stuff. But my wife did start making this thing. We haven't done it for Thanksgiving yet, but it's apples. It's basically like mini apple pies. But you use honey butter, you use like puff pastry, you do real thin sliced apples, layer them, roll them up into almost like pinwheels, like little flour things, and you bake them in like a muffin pan, like a cupcake pan, and they're great. You put more honey butter on top of it. That's good stuff.
That sounds great. And you talked about the muffin pan. So here's a little quick one for you for Cody, since you don't like desserts that much, but a can of pumpkin and just a box carrot cake mix. Mix them together. Bake them the same way that you would for the mix, what it says on the box. So 350 at 13 minutes or whatever it is. And then some cream cheese frosting on top, some pumpkin pie spice on there, and you've got a little pumpkin muffin cupcake. And it is amazing. And I make them every year, and it's a family tradition for us. But that's
good.
That's a free one for anyone that's listening out there. Guys, thank you so much for coming on this show. It was a lot of fun. I know it's around the holidays, and I appreciate your time that you took out of this. You guys already recorded a show, and then you hopped on with us. So I do appreciate that. Best of luck coming up this Saturday. And for anyone else out there, I just want to say, if you're watching or listening, have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Spend it with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and tell them you love them. And with that, I'm going to say, whether you see us at the Jack, whether you see us at the Joan, or whether you see us pulling up to your house and eating everything that you have at Thanksgiving, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd. It's the ThunderCast, and we'll see you tomorrow.